You don't need to hear another person tell you to move on. You've already heard that. And right now, that advice feels like someone handing you a life jacket after you've already sunk to the bottom. But what if I told you it's not about getting over them, it's about getting back to you? Because there's a version of you that existed before this pain, a version that laughed without faking it, that didn't constantly check your phone hoping for a message that never comes, that didn't depend on someone else to fix you when you fixed yourself. There's a version of you that existed before this pain, a version that constantly checked your phone hoping for a message that never comes, that didn't feel like your worth depended on someone else's attention. Right now, it hurts. I know it does. And maybe you're wondering, why them? Why did they leave? Why wasn't I enough? But those questions aren't here to be answered. They're here to wake you up. This heartbreak, it's not here to break you forever. It's here to reveal you, to force you to grow into someone who doesn't settle, who doesn't chase what isn't meant for them, who doesn't beg to be chosen. And the crazy thing is, the moment you stop trying to prove your value to someone who couldn't see it, is the moment you start becoming the person who doesn't have to. So let's talk. Let's cut through the noise. This isn't about pretending you're okay. It's about actually becoming okay. Because believe it or not, this pain has an expiration date. And you've got so much more waiting for you on the other side of it. Heartbreak isn't the end. It's the beginning of self-reconnection. When someone leaves your life or a relationship ends, it feels like a door has slammed shut, and you're left standing in the hallway of your emotions with no idea where to go next. Everything that once felt familiar, their voice, their presence, the rituals you built around them, suddenly vanishes. And what's left is a gaping silence that feels unbearable. But what if that silence isn't a void? What if it's space? Space to remember who you were before them. Space to rediscover the parts of yourself you tucked away, hoping they'd love you more if you were a little quieter, a little easier, a little less. We give so much of ourselves in love, and often we don't realize just how far we've drifted from our own identity until that love is gone. The late night texts, the shared dreams, the compromises we made, all of that feels like a shared world that disappeared overnight. But inside that loss is an invitation. It's not about going backwards to the person you were before the relationship. It's about reconnecting with who you are now, shaped by the love you gave and the lessons you learned. It's about checking in with the version of you that survived, even when your heart felt like it couldn't take another blow. Because even when your heart felt like it couldn't take another blow, you start to remember what it feels like to choose for yourself, not for them. You remember what music you actually like, what food you order when you're not trying to share, what kind of weekends make you feel alive. You begin to rebuild your own rhythm without constantly adjusting to someone else's pace. At first, it's clumsy, lonely. You might even try to recreate the connection with someone else too quickly, just to fill the gap. But something inside you knows this is a season of reconnection, not distraction. This is where you reclaim your own name and your own voice. The pain is loud at first. It screams every time a memory hits you. But slowly your own inner voice starts to rise above the noise. And that voice says you are still here. Not broken, but bending. Not lost, but being rerouted. That's what heartbreak does. It strips away the illusion that someone else completed you and puts the mirror back in your hands. And what you see in that reflection might surprise you. Because you're not seeing the version of yourself that loved someone else. You're seeing the version of yourself that now needs your love more than ever. the one who showed up, the one who cared deeply, the one who gave honestly. That person doesn't disappear just because the relationship ended. That person is still within you, waiting for you to come back, waiting for you to stop looking out the window for someone to return and instead turn inward and say, I'm here. I haven't left you. Your worth is not defined by someone's inability to love you. When someone fails to show up for you the way you hoped, it's easy to internalize that rejection and start believing it's a reflection of your value. You replay every conversation, every moment, trying to find what you did wrong, where you weren't enough, what you could have said or done differently to make them stay. A spiral convinces you that if only you had been prettier, calmer, smarter, more successful, more this, less that, they would have chosen you. But the truth is, their failure to recognize your worth doesn't mean you don't have any. It only reveals the limits of their vision, not the depth of your value. We live in a world where being loved is often equated with being worthy. And when that love is withdrawn, it feels like our entire sense of identity collapses with it. But you are not a product whose value increases or decreases depending on who's buying. You are not a moment of someone else's attention or affection. You are an entire world. And the fact that someone couldn't understand or appreciate that world doesn't make it any less beautiful. It simply means they weren't equipped to hold it, explore it, or grow within it. Sometimes people leave because they're not ready. Sometimes they stay but don't show up fully. And sometimes they love you the best way they know how, but it still isn't what you need. None of these things mean you are unlovable. None of them mean you are lacking. They simply show you that love is not about trying harder to be seen. It's about being seen without having to try. Your worth is not something someone else grants you through their love. It's something you own the moment you decide to stop outsourcing your value to other people's choices. It hurts when someone doesn't choose you, especially when you gave them the most vulnerable parts of yourself. But that pain is not proof that you're broken. That pain is the echo of your capacity to care deeply, to love fiercely, to invest in someone with your whole heart. And that capacity is not a weakness. It's a gift. Just because someone didn't know how to receive that gift doesn't mean it wasn't worthy of being given. It means they weren't in a place to appreciate it, nurture it, or return it. Your worth is not measured by who leaves or who stays. It's measured by the way you treat yourself when they do. It's measured by your decision to honor your emotions without letting them distort the truth of who you are. It's in the way you pick yourself up, not to prove anything to anyone, but to remind yourself of everything you still carry within. You are not a reflection of someone else's capacity to love. You are a reflection of your own capacity to grow, to heal, to love yourself better than anyone ever could. Stop chasing closure from people who gave you confusion. When a relationship ends without clear answers, without a conversation that makes sense of the hurt, it can leave you in a state of emotional limbo. Your mind becomes obsessed with understanding. You want to know why they left, why they changed, why everything you felt suddenly seems like it meant nothing. You look for patterns in old messages, reanalyze old conversations, hoping you miss something that will explain it all. You think if you could just have one final talk, one honest explanation, then maybe the pain would ease and the pieces would finally fit together. But people who confuse you when they're with you rarely bring clarity when they're gone. They left you with questions because they never had the answers themselves. They didn't communicate clearly because they weren't clear inside. They didn't love you in a way that made sense because they didn't love themselves in a way that made sense. They didn't love you because they didn't love themselves in a way that made sense. And the more you chase them for closure, the more power you hand over to the very person who already made you feel powerless. You're asking someone to resolve the pain they caused, but if they were capable of that level of honesty, they probably wouldn't have left you in confusion in the first place. Closure isn't a moment, it's a decision. It's the choice to stop seeking validation from someone who couldn't give it when it mattered most. It's the moment you realize that you don't need their words to make sense of your experience. Your feelings were real, even if their intentions were not. Your efforts mattered, even if they went unnoticed. Just because someone walked away without giving you the respect of a conversation doesn't mean your love was foolish or one-sided. It means they lacked the courage to face the consequences of their actions, to be vulnerable, to admit what they couldn't handle. Sometimes silence is the only answer you get. Sometimes people disappear not because you were too much, but because your depth revealed their shallowness. And it's in that silence that you have to find your own voice. You have to stop waiting for someone to return with the answers and start creating your own. You have to become the one who says, I don't need to understand why you left to understand that I deserve better than the way you left. You become your own closure when you decide that peace matters more than proof, that moving forward matters more than understanding every detail of the past. You break the cycle of confusion the moment you stop reopening the wound, hoping they'll come back and heal it. The truth is, the version of them that hurt you cannot be the one who heals you. And the longer you wait for them to explain, the longer you postpone your own healing. You don't need their clarity to create your freedom. You don't need their apology to give yourself permission to let go. You don't need to chase closure when you can choose it. Healing starts the moment you choose yourself over their absence. In the beginning, the silence they leave behind feels deafening. You wake up expecting their message, go to sleep hoping for a call, scroll through old memories as if they'll suddenly give you a reason to feel okay. Everything around you reminds you of them. And for a while, you live in a world built on their echo. But what hurts the most isn't always that they're gone. It's the way you've abandoned yourself trying to hold on to them. You stop checking in with your needs, your happiness, your future. You made them the center of your emotional world. And when they left, it felt like your entire identity left with them. But healing doesn't wait for the pain to disappear. It begins quietly, in the smallest decisions you make every day to return to yourself. It's when you get out of bed, even when your heart feels heavy. When you eat a proper meal, not because you feel hungry, but because you deserve care. When you stop checking their profile and start checking in with your own thoughts, asking yourself, what do I need right now? Choosing yourself isn't a dramatic declaration. It's a daily decision to show up for the parts of you they never got to know, or maybe never appreciated. You realize that for too long you tried to be what they needed. You twisted yourself to fit their expectations, minimized your feelings to keep the peace, gave more than you had, hoping they'd finally stay. But now you get to untangle yourself from that version of love. You get to redefine what it means to be valued, starting with how you value yourself. You stop hoping they'll come back and see your worth, and instead start acting like someone who never had to be proven worthy in the first place. That shift doesn't come all at once, but it builds momentum. Every time you resist the urge to reach out, every time you sit with your sadness instead of running from it, you build a new kind of strength. It doesn't mean the pain vanishes overnight. Some days you'll still miss them. And you start scanning people's life stories on a dating app. You message them, you put it on Facebook post. You start crying. You still do all the things that you imagined you should. You build a path. Some nights the emptiness will return like a wave, but now you know how to stay standing. Now you've learned that your heart doesn't need their presence to keep beating. You've stopped hoping they'll fill the space they left and started filling it with your own love, your own growth, your own commitment to being whole again. The more you choose yourself, your peace, your healing, your path forward, the less power their absence has over you. It becomes clear that healing isn't something you wait to happen. It's something you build every single time you choose not to abandon yourself just because they did. It's the understanding that you can grieve their absence and still honor your presence. It's the quiet, powerful return to the person who never truly left you. You. This pain is temporary, but the strength you gain is permanent. When heartbreak hits, it feels endless. Every hour stretches longer than the last. Every memory cuts a little deeper, and every attempt to distract yourself only leads back to that hollow space they used to fill. It feels like the sadness might be your new normal, like you'll never fully laugh again without a trace of them sitting in the back of your mind. The ache is constant. The reminders are everywhere. And you begin to question whether healing is even possible. But the truth is, no matter how loud the pain feels right now, it will not last forever. It may stay longer than you'd like, but it won't stay forever. Pain, especially emotional pain, has a strange way of convincing us that it's here to stay. It tells us that the future won't be any better than the past. It whispers doubts into your ear and distorts your memories, making you question what was real. But pain is not permanent. It is a signal, a teacher, a passage. And while it carves into you with intensity, it's also creating space for something new to be built, something stronger, deeper, and more honest than what came before. The pain may bring you to your knees, but that's where the rebuilding begins. You won't just get through this. You'll become someone new because of it. Not someone hardened or cold, but someone wiser, someone who understands boundaries, who knows what it feels like to give too much, who has learned how to protect their peace without closing their heart. The person you become on the other side of heartbreak is not weaker. They are battle-tested. They have scars, yes, but those scars are maps. Proof that you found your way out of something that tried to bury you. And while the pain fades, the strength it builds stays. You carry it with you into every future relationship, every challenge, every uncertain moment. You become someone who remembers how deep you once fell and how powerfully you rose. You become the person who can spot the difference between being loved and being used, between connection and attachment, between temporary comfort and true emotional safety. That strength wasn't something you were born with. It's something this pain helped you grow. And because of that, no one can take it from you. You might not see it now, but with each day you endure, with each moment you refuse to give up on yourself, you are becoming stronger than you've ever been. The tears you cry now are watering the roots of a version of you that doesn't need to chase love to feel whole. You are being reshaped, not broken. You are in a chapter, not the whole book. And this chapter, though heavy, is forging a strength that will stay with you far beyond the memory of the person who once made you feel lost.